Mindful Speaking here, once again here to share with you some positive insight, some positive messages, and some positivity to help uplift and boost the positivity needed for your day. As you know, my name is Danny Dozy, coach, mentor, and speaker. And before we get started, once again, I just want to say that I hope you're doing well, hope your positivity is uplifted, hope you're connected to your spirit, and I hope you're dancing in gratitude because there is so much to be grateful and thankful for. So anyway, I just want to share with you here a quick piece of my story. Because, why do I want to do this? Because there's this thing that just comes to mind when it comes to figuring out what decision truly needs to be made in order to continue on with your journey, right? But also not just continue on, but learning how to listen to the one thing that's within our toolbox, that's speaking to us all the time and using it to our advantage. So the main thing of this video is knowing how to listen to your voice and knowing where your voice is being connected to a certain part of you that wants you to listen to it, so that way you can move forward and recover and you can deal with everything else later. So when I was a kid, at the age of 12, I used to live in Skid Row in Los Angeles, California, and was homeless, going through all sorts of tragic exposure to different events, different sort of circumstances, challenging upbringing, stuff like that, right? But I don't want to go into too much detail about that. In fact, what I want to talk about is the one critical decision that I had to make that would help me to move forward, or was either the choice between life and despair, quitting to keep on going. You know what I mean? It's those sort of decisions that were being made. But however, what happened is that I just got through eating in a shelter, right? After I just kind of like left my mom or whatever. Like I literally escaped from my mom. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not mad at my mom. I'm not upset. I'm not disappointed. But what happens is that at the time where we were in Skid Row, my mom was going to a place, so she wanted to go somewhere. But however, the place that she wanted to go to, I had another plan in mind, right? So there was a shelter that was serving food at the time in the heart of Skid Row. And I asked my mom, can we go in here and get some food? And she said no and kept on walking. So I come to this halt for a second. And I come to this halt because I asked myself a question. What is it that I truly want in this moment? Is either to continue to keep on going down this path, right? That's leading to all these other emotions and experiences and things that aren't of any sort of positive or any sort of, positive nature. Or it's either to go into the shelter, get some food, and then come out and just see what happens. And sometimes when we're in this space of having to make these decisions, there's one thing that drives us, and that's fear. But it's not what drives us, it's how we use what's driving us to our advantage. And so what happened was, I was afraid because I didn't know what was going to happen, but yet I've been in this situation before plenty of times. So I didn't have any sort of fear when it comes to making this decision. So I ended up going into the shelter, getting some food. My mom doesn't come back. Instead, she keeps walking, right? So at 12 years old, I'm like, okay. All I had was just a trash bag. No money, no phone, no bus pass, bus tokens, none of that. All I had was just a trash bag, and I'm talking about 150 to 200 gallon trash bag just full of straight clothes. Not even lying to you guys. So I go into the shelter, get some food. 20 minutes later, I come out by myself, again in the heart of Skid Row, and now I'm just being asked to make life decisions, right? So I remember making a ride out of the shelter and then making a left down the main street. And then when I get to a corner of a street, my goodness, what I see next is completely unbelievable. So what I see is that my mom is on a bus heading to where she's going, right? And so I'm standing here on this corner, opposite side of where the bus is. And I'm thinking, okay, do I stand here? Do I run to the bus stop? Is my mom gonna get off the bus? Right, and I look down to the right, or to the left, apologies. But I look down to the left, down the street, and I see that there's a bus stop. And I see that there's a bus stop, so I'm thinking, okay, now what? But instead, here's what happens. So the bus gets to the bus stop. I see absolute no sign of my mom. And the next thing that happens is that the bus keeps on going. So now, I'm 12 years old in the heart of Skid Row. And now it's like, bang. What do I do now? It's either I stay here in this environment, become a part of it, become a product of it actually, be a part of everybody else's movement and decisions, those who have given up on themselves, people who are not in a negative way, but people who are not fortunate enough, people who are in lower set of frequencies, people who have no purpose and no reason for living. In fact, this is it for them. This is where they're meant to be, right? People who are on substances on an every daily basis. You know, people who just aren't in the best mindset. And if they want things to change, they have to do that intuitive work. And because they're so far low or so far behind, they don't even try. Why bother, right? So it's either me being in that sort of environment and saying to myself, you know what, this is where I belong, or it's either I trust what's in my mind and my heart and I sync them all together, and then guess what? And just use everything that I have in my toolbox and keep myself grounded and level-headed and just look for the best possible outcome. And before making that decision, there was this voice, right? It's almost like there's those two voices on your shoulder, right? One saying, quit, give up, it doesn't happen. Use it as a reason to quit yourself. And there's that other one that says, it's okay. Put your emotions away for now, right? And let's do whatever is needed to be done to just simply look for the best possible outcome. And even though there's two voices, there's that one choice, right? And that one choice that I decided to listen to was the one on the shoulder that said, you know what, it's okay, keep moving forward and everything will be okay. Don't be afraid, don't be angry, don't be upset, but just use what you have and everything in your toolbox to just look for whatever it is that you need. And to make a long story short, there was 3 instances, but the first 2 I want to talk about because these 2 first instances were a true test of character. So after making the decision to keep on going, I come across 2 shelters. And I went in there wholeheartedly by myself with a trash bag over my back. I said, excuse me, I'm looking for somewhere to sleep. Do you think you'd be able to help me? They asked me how old I was. I said I'm 12 years old. They said, sorry kid, we're not gonna be able to help you because you're under the age of 18. Not once, but twice. And I remember after that second shelter that I come out of, it was really, really like a test of character because it's like, okay, do I say, you know what, I quit here? Do I go back to my old habits? You know what I mean? And just say, you know what, this is where I belong myself. Maybe this is where my mom meant to drop me off. Or do I go one more time and say, you know what, to see what happens, and then maybe we'll do something different. And I chose to keep on going. In fact, I chose to go to this third shelter, again, wholeheartedly, asking them, excuse me, I'm looking for somewhere to sleep. Do you think you'd be able to help me? They said, they asked me how old I was. I said I'm 12 years old. They said, we're not gonna be able to help you because you're under the age of 18. But then I just thought, dang, okay. And now they started to ask other questions. They started to ask, well, where's your mom? Where are you staying? And what are you doing here? And the more information I was kind of given to them, they come to this conclusion that, well, I'm simply not meant to be here, so why am I here? So what ends up happening is that they call the police, police come and pick me up. We go on a search for my mom, can't find my mom, and then I end up in a police station for a few hours. 5 hours go by myself, right? Mom don't know where I'm at, family's not in the picture, no support structure, friends, family, none of that. But however, by the end of the night, a stranger came, he came and picked me up, and I jumped in his car. Coming to find out, the stranger was actually a foster care or a social worker, and he said, we're gonna put you in the foster care system. And from that moment, life just took a complete 180. Everything else just took off. So what am I simply trying to say here? Well, in the face of when certain experiences and events and circumstances take place, it's about knowing the right voice to listen to at the right time that will help you to move forward in the right way. When we're talking about moving forward, right, and listen to the voice that's within, there's only 3 things I'm just simply going to share with you here. One is to never abandon yourself when you need yourself the most. Oftentimes, certain things happen, and when we abandon ourselves, we abandon our own existence, our own soul, our own personal sense of self, and we leave ourselves in a situation to be dominated by experiences or events or circumstances, to allow these things to take its course. And when we let those things happen, we never gain any sort of control. The next thing that is important is when in the face of certain events happening, is to sync your mind and your heart together, right? Take your emotions out of it. Sometimes it's hard, I know, it's hard to do. I get it's hard to do. But the minute we can take our emotions out of it and we can actually figure out how to learn from the experiences happening in front of us, what happens is that it makes it much more easier to make a decision that's clear and that'll help us to move forward with whatever is happening in front of us. So when we sync our mind and our heart together, also plus 2, we're also looking for the best possible outcome for the experiences that's happening right in front of us. And then the last thing that I want to share with you here is trust the process. Trust your decision. Trust that the decision that you have made is in alignment with who you are as a person and what you're looking for. Trust that the decision that you have made is going to get you the best possible outcome, not just for this moment, but for something greater than this moment that's going to help you get through your future. Trust that the decision that you've made is going to lead you to happiness. Happiness in a positive way. Happiness, and I know happiness has many different meanings, but it's going to lead you to the positive space of happiness, not just the illusionary happiness, not just the short term. We're talking about happiness that's everlasting, and that happiness cannot be destroyed. It's something that's naturally connected to you, or is naturally ingrained in you. You just have to tune into that right frequency. Right? And the moment you can do these 3 things is the moment that moving forward, moving through life, moving within life's set of experiences, tragedies, circumstances, makes it much more easier when you're tuned into the right voice that we all know we need to listen to, and it's going to help us to do right, knowing that what we need to do right by is going to help us to find those short-term and long-term victories. Anyway, if you like the video at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, share with family members and friends, and also too, share with people who can use these positive messages.
Turn around.
Kids enjoying themselves. But share these messages and videos with people who can use these messages that can help uplift and find their positivity within their own personal day, journey, and life. Anyway, stay well, stay healthy, stay positive, stay uplifted, and the last thing that I want to finish here with, think well to live well. Danny Dozy, peace.